Welcome to Cooking with Mr. Holiday. Today we're going to be celebrating the Jewish holiday of Purim by creating a sweet treat called Funfetti Hamantaschen. What's Purim, you ask? Well, I didn't know too much about Purim until recently. My only reference to Purim was, I think, a 1990s People magazine article of Madonna and her children in costumes walking into the Kabbalah Center in West Hollywood. Well, this week while walking Arbo, I came across a group of young Jewish children walking to the JCC all in costume. I thought to myself, well, it's not Halloween. Maybe they're going off to a birthday party. Just as soon as I was thinking that, I heard a young man say, "Mom, is that Mr. Holiday and his dog? Do you think they've decorated their house for Purim?" His mother looked at him and said, "Yes, that's Mr. Holiday and his dog, but I don't think Mr. Holiday's Jewish, and I doubt that he's decorated his home for Purim." Well, I decided to walk up to them and find out a little bit more about this holiday called Purim. I told them that I'm from Minnesota and I'm not Jewish, but I'd like to learn more about the holiday because it seems like you're pretty excited about it. Well, he proceeded to give me a Cliff Notes version of what turns out to be a very fun, festive, and interesting holiday. What I learned from him is that Purim is a story about a king in Prussia who has a harem of women. And in that harem of women is a beautiful, beautiful woman named Esther. Well, Esther has a secret. Esther's Jewish and nobody knows it. So I guess you could say Esther was in the closet. Well, Esther knew what was going on everywhere within the palace. And she overheard one of the king's subjects named Haman. Well, Haman was not a good man. Haman, in fact, wanted to get rid of all Jews in the kingdom. Well, Esther, being Jewish, knew she had to do something right away. So Esther, being the king's favorite, was able to get in front of the king and explain to the king what Haman was about to do. Well, the king did not like this at all. And immediately he summoned Haman and his 10 brothers, and before you know it, they were all killed. And at the end of the day, the Jews were saved, Esther remained queen, and it gave everyone an opportunity to celebrate the bravery of this woman named Esther. So, thanks to Queen Esther, and now that she's out of the closet, the Jews had a ton to celebrate. Now, how do they celebrate Purim? Everyone dresses up in costume. Many people wear masks. They have wonderful themed cocktails. They eat well. They give back to charity. And they spend time reading the book of Esther from the Torah. Now, an interesting fact about the book of Esther. It's the only book that does not use the word God. Well, enough history about Purim. Let's get to making Funfetti Hamantaschen. So, what will you need for your Hamantaschen? You're going to need 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a half a cup of oil, 2/3 cup sugar, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 2½ cups flour, 1/2 cup, the most important funfetti ingredient, Fruity Pebbles. Then you're going to need to pick your favorite jam. Today we're going to use raspberry jam and fig orange jam, and whatever recipe you have for your favorite frosting. In this case, we're going to do a simple powdered sugar white frosting with cream cheese. So we're going to start out by adding the eggs, oil, 2/3 of a cup sugar, and the vanilla. We'll take that and we'll slowly cream it together. Now that the mixture is creamed up together, we're going to take the combination of the 2½ cups of flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder and slowly add that to the mixture. We're going to beat that until it gets to a nice dough consistency. Perfect. Oh, well, I guess it would have helped if I... Looks like the KitchenAid dropped one part, but it'll be fine. So, here we have our dough. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add our ½ cup of Fruity Pebbles into the mixture. And I'm going to put that back down here and let it mix again for just a few seconds. We don't want to mix it too much because the Fruity Pebbles will break up, and we want to make sure we can still see the color of the Fruity Pebbles. So we're just going to take this mixture, scrape it down, and we are going to be ready to make our Hamantaschen dough. See? You can see the beautiful color. So the next step is we're going to take the dough and we're going to roll it out. Now the key to this is you don't want the dough to be too thin and you don't want the dough to be too thick. So I look at it as being very similar to if you're making sugar cookies, maybe a little bit thicker than that. So as you can see, I use a silk pad, which I think is a great tool to have when making anything associated with dough. You lightly flour it. Oh, the joy of dog ownership. As I was saying, you roll out the dough and we get it to a nice consistency. You can see there's flecks of the funfetti throughout. And then we're going to take a round cookie cutter and we're going to cut out the shape for our Hamantaschen. So there's one. Full disclosure, I've never made Hamantaschen before, and I was inspired to do this because my best friend from junior high school, daughter and her friend are coming to stay with us tonight in DC for the APAC meeting. Now, I remember Ari, who was a premature baby, could barely even fit in the palm of your hand. Now, Jose was fine holding her. I, on the other hand, no, I thought I was gonna break her. She had all these monitors on, all these other things. But the amazing thing is, she now is a modern day Esther. She's here in DC, she's going to the APAC meeting, and I thought what better excuse to celebrate a Jewish holiday such as Purim than when she arrives this evening. So what I've been doing here is I've been covering and filling the Hamantaschen with the fig and orange preserves as well as the raspberry preserves. We also have preheated the oven to, let's look at 350 degrees. And we're going to place these in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Now the final step in this is that we have to fold the Hamantaschen. Remember the story I told you? Haman, named after the very, very bad man who hated the Jews, and Taschen, which is where the cookie gets its name. A pocket, Taschen pocket. So now we're going to create pockets. We simply fold these together and we make them into a little triangle, such as that. And I'm going to do this now for all of the Hamantaschen. And we're going to place them in the oven. And I'm going to cross my fingers that they come out delicious. And we'll be back to show you the finished product. Alexa, 12 minutes on the timer.
12 minutes, starting now.
Thank you, Alexa. Alexa, what is Purim?
Purim is a Jewish holiday that commemorates the saving of the Jewish people from Haman, who was planning to kill all the Jews.
So, I got it right. Taschen are out of the oven. I baked them for approximately 10 minutes because I like them a little soft and chewy, not too crispy. And now I've made my frosting mixture out of a cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of half and half, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a tablespoon of cream cheese. I'm going to take this mixture and I'm going to drizzle it on top of each of the Hamantaschen and give it a nice covering, a little sweet. And once we do that, we are going to take our Fruit Loops, or what I like to call funfetti, to decorate the top of the Hamantaschen. And the frosting will keep the fruitfetti in place. So I'm just going to take a handful of it, and what we're going to do is we're just going to drizzle it all over the place and make them nice and colorful, just like the holiday. So here we are. We have our funfetti Hamantaschen. So I'd like to wish everyone of the Jewish faith a happy Purim, but I'm going to close our segment and allow Esther to do the honors.
Chag Sameach.
Bye for now from Mr. Holiday. Remember, life is better with a theme.